but I felt like Jennifer Aniston plays one character. That's all she can do. She's a one-trick pony. And hey there, Coach Devin here. Last night I watched the Friends Reunion special. I guess it's not really like a show, it was a reunion special. My wife is an enormous Friends fan. Huge, like crazy Friends fan, and I've got to be honest, I have never been a Friends guy. I've seen the show, and I thought it's funny in parts, but overall, I'm not a big Friends person. Never have been, just wasn't really my jam. Anyway, but I grudgingly watched the Friends Reunion special with my wife because she wanted to watch it, and I thought, all right, okay, let's give it a try. And you know what? I learned some things. It was interesting, actually, and these are, I'm going to hit you with it right now. These are the 6 cool and interesting things I learned from the Friends Reunion special that changed my opinion about the show Friends. All right, number 1, Ross Geller. Okay, Ross Geller, played by David Schwimmer, my least favorite character on Friends. If I'm going to watch it, I found him super annoying, for lack of a better term. I found the guy annoying as hell. The whininess, the complaininess. I'm like, the hangdog look. I was like, oh my God. Never found the Ross character appealing. Now, what's interesting is my wife feels that the Ross character is the funniest character on the show. Wasn't really my thing. It was like nails on a chalkboard to me. Found him super annoying. And I've seen him in other stuff, and he's actually been good in other things. And so I wasn't quite sure why I disliked the Ross character so much, but I did. Watching the reunion special, I got a much better idea of who David Schwimmer is as a person and an actor. I think we saw more of it. And you know what? He's actually a very well-known and director. He does a lot of stage work as well. So he's a well-rounded guy. And listening to him on the show, it's interesting to think that the Ross character was really sort of the leader in reality, because David Schwimmer is definitely a leader. There's no question about it. And I had a whole newfound respect for his ability to act because he's not the character at all. And I guess he probably played the character so well, and I found the character so annoying that I just, in my mind, I was like, I can't handle this guy anymore. But in reality, David Schwimmer is an excellent actor, and it made me rethink my thoughts in general on the Ross character. I still find him a little annoying, but I will say a lot funnier. And I will laugh now at things when my wife has it on. I'll actually laugh at it. So, you know what? He made me rethink what I thought about his character because I realized that he's a really different guy. So that's number 1, the first thing I learned. Number 2, I have never been a big Rachel fan either. And maybe that dovetails from the whole Ross thing. I'm not sure. But I just felt like, the character didn't do a lot for me. And I felt like, in reality, the acting was not that good. I just felt like she was kind of a whiny character. Character's a little bit, he's a little rich girl. And, I just found in general, yes, Jennifer Aniston's a very pretty woman, but I felt like Jennifer Aniston plays one character. That's all she can do. She's a one-trick pony. And so in my mind, I thought, well, who cares? In reality, and listening to Jennifer Aniston talk in the reunion special and then hearing the writers talk, it's interesting to think that character, the Rachel character that Jennifer Aniston plays, is actually not a very nice person, especially at the beginning. She's actually very full of herself. She's very entitled. She's got some attitude problems. Like, she's just not overall a really nice person. What's impressive, and what made me rethink things on Jennifer Aniston in general, is the fact that she somehow manages to play that character and make that character friendly and likable. And the Rachel character is friendly. She's likable. It's not just that she's the hot girl. She's likable and friendly, and you commiserate with her, even though really, I think in the wrong hands, that character could be a complete, nothing good. Not going to say anything rude. It could be a really nasty character that you hated, and instead you end up liking her, which I think shows Jennifer Aniston's ability to act. And maybe I've been giving her short shrift all these years where I'm kind of hard on her and said that she's not that good. Actually, I think she's probably better than that because she took a character that it could have gone in two different directions. Either you're going to love her or you're going to hate her, and she made you love her, and that's impressive. So, you know, my hat's off. Jennifer Aniston, I definitely learned that was the second thing I learned. Jennifer Aniston, a better actress than I thought, and the character, a better character in general. Number 3, one of my favorite characters on there, and I only have really 2 or 3 that I liked a lot. Lisa Kudrow, who obviously plays Phoebe. Lisa Kudrow, I've always liked her as an actress. I think Lisa Kudrow is very talented. She plays very different roles. She's an interesting person. She's obviously very bright. What I learned on there is that not from Lisa Kudrow is her ability to swap over into Phoebe and then back into Lisa Kudrow was really impressive. I mean, they're completely different, and I get that, and I knew it beforehand because I've seen her in a lot of other movies. But I think, number one, Lisa Kudrow looks like $1 million. Like, I mean, she looks like she hasn't had a bunch of facial surgery like a lot of people have, and she looks like $1 million. She's also very funny. She's interesting, and a very, very good actress. But I think she brought a certain flair to Phoebe that maybe couldn't have been done by anybody else. And if you watch the reunion special, you know what I mean. When she plays Smelly Cat, she clicks over to play Phoebe, and I think that's super cool. You actually can see it happen. And I think that's not easy to do. She took a character that, again, could have been very weird and nobody really clicked with, and she made that character not just interesting, but cool. And a character that everybody could commiserate with, and especially nowadays where we're trying to be a little more open-minded for people who are different than the norm. I think she sort of led the charge on that. So I'm impressed with Lisa Kudrow in general. I've always been impressed with Lisa Kudrow, but I'm more impressed, and even more impressed at the end of it because of the fact that she said, no, I wouldn't want to do another show or a movie. I think that a lot of people come back to kick that can when it shouldn't happen. And you know what? Her saying, no, I'm not going to do that was impressive. So that's number 3 is my Lisa Kudrow one. Number 4, Joey, otherwise known as Matt LeBlanc. And guys, it is, my American friends, it is not Matt LeBlanc. It's French. He's originally, his family's Acadian, which means they came from Nova Scotia, which is my home province, and moved to New Orleans, and it's not pronounced LeBlanc. The C is silent. My ex-brother-in-law, actually, his last name is LeBlanc. You pronounce it LeBlanc. Just anybody out there. It's a little nitpicky, but anyway. Matt LeBlanc, you know what? As a person off the show, just as a guy, he was hilarious. And I think, I always kind of liked the character he played, but I think he, as himself, just seemed like he's a great guy. He's funny, he jokes around, doesn't take himself real seriously. He seems like a dude that you would hang out with on a regular basis and be like, yeah, I like that guy. You know what I mean? And that was, to me, I think, really cool. I enjoyed him more than anybody else on the reunion special. The side jokes, the fooling around. He and David Schwimmer, I think, they knocked it out of the park. And I think you see a lot of intelligence with those guys. They get silly humor, but at the same time, they understand how to do silly humor in a way that everybody gets it. And it's fun. So you know what, Matt LeBlanc, I was super impressed with who he was as a person rather than talking about his acting abilities. As a person, he seems like a great guy, and I thought he might be that from the get-go. He hasn't done a lot of other things outside of Friends, but I gotta say, the guy he seems like a great guy. Plus, he just let his hair go gray and didn't care, which again, kind of cool. You know what I mean? It's just kind of cool that he just was like, I don't care, let it go. Seems like a dude you would hang out with and think that was just a fun guy to be around. Number 5, Courtney Cox. I always thought Courtney Cox was an excellent actress. My estimation of Courtney Cox went up a lot because of the fact that Courtney Cox came in and originally was supposed to read for Rachel Green. She wasn't supposed to be, Monica. She was supposed to read for Rachel Green and said, I don't want to. And I think that shows a lot of guts. Because if you're coming in to play the hot girl, and she was the most, well-known, I should say, the most famous, she was in the Springsteen video and all those other things. She was ahead of the other group coming in. She was well-known. And to come in and say, you know what, I don't think that character is going to work. I think this character is going to work, and here's the reasons. She basically turned down Rachel Green and made them let her read for Monica, and then knocked it out of the park. And I think that character was just brilliant. I mean, I've always liked her as a character. I thought the Monica character is funny. it's well written, but she also, the intensity level that she brought to it was fantastic. But it takes a lot of guts to turn down one role when they may turn you down for the other one because they want you in this one. That to me impressed me a lot about Courtney Cox, and I was more than a little impressed with her. In the reunion special, I thought that was a very cool story. Last but not least, number 6, Matthew Perry. Obviously, Pete Chandler, my favorite character on that show would have been Chandler. I thought the one-liners he was just great at. He's really the dry, cutting sense of humor. I thought was fantastic. He still has some of it. The only sad part is, I mean, he's well documented that he's had problems with drugs and alcohol, and that's a shame because the guy is, I mean, in the 90s, he was a star. He was just brilliant at all kinds of stuff. And every movie he was in, he was funny, and he plays that dry sense of humor so well. And he's so quick, and it's just, I felt like the drug use and the alcohol use has dulled some of his abilities and some of the quickness in his mind. He's still there. You can see it. It's just not as fast as it used to be. And it was sad to see it go. He's obviously, I thought always, again, like I said, one of my favorite character on the show would have been him because of the dry humor, the sarcasm. I thought he was great, and he delivered it in a way that other people can't do. I thought he was fantastic. It's a shame to see him sort of not be himself anymore, but at the same time, you know what? Fortunately, it does appear that he's clean now, and that's a positive, you know, because the guy definitely needs to get better, and hopefully he feels better. But it was good to see him back and somewhat like his old self. What did you guys think? What did you like and not like about the reunion special? I personally, across the board, I thought it was great. Those are the 6 things that stood out for me. But, you know, what did you think was the cool thing about the Friends Reunion special? Write up your comments down below. I would love to hear from you. Have yourself an amazing day, everybody. Don't fight the awesome.